Sorry about the shade. Hiking between trees and whatnot, like there. Shade. And then again over here, a little bit of sun. That was an interesting night in that cabin. The cabin, for what I can only assume is the reason of vandalism, has no doors or windows left. So while it is a roof over our heads and a fireplace, which we deeply enjoyed, it is rather drafty. And at 8,000 feet last night, it was about 25 degrees in the middle of the night and snowing. And it was a rough one, let me tell you. I was sleeping between two windows because I did not anticipate precipitation. It was sunny and warm whenever I went to bed. And we got about a half inch of snow, and I woke up with ice crystals on top of my sleeping bag, which for a down bag is quite bad, getting it damp. So I got up in the middle of the night and jerry-rigged my rain poncho into a temporary bivy bag to go over the top of my quilt. And it worked very well, actually. It's a trick I've used before. The Frog Togs rain ponchos are both breathable and surprisingly almost just the right size. You've just got to put a piece of shock cord near the foot end and tie it together so it forms sort of a pocket for the foot end of your sleeping bag or quilt. And then the rest of it you can just wrap around yourself, or you can install some little Velcro tabs, which, you know, I've yet to do on my rain poncho for this trip, but clearly I should have. So we woke up this morning, you know, it was hardcore cold, probably 27, 28 degrees. All of our water was frozen, and we quickly reignited the fire to dry everything out, thaw our water. Thankfully, my water filter, which is very important to me, did not freeze. If it would have frozen, I would have dramatically improved flow rate, but it wouldn't be filtering anything anymore. And so I'm putting myself in danger of waterborne pathogens like Cryptosporidium and Giardia, which they say is not terribly a problem on the PCT, but I'm not about to take any risks. I'm actually considering getting a new one in town if I can find one. Speaking of town, we're about 19 miles outside of Big Bear City, which we will be hiking to the road either sometime this evening or early tomorrow morning, and hitchhiking into the city proper. We'll probably be doing a zero there, a little bit more equipment repair and replacement, and then we'll be going out the next day. So if ever there was a time to install tiny Velcro tabs on my rain poncho, that may very well be it. Let's see, what else? I've been hiking along, wondering if the California Ranger Department would appreciate me calling them up and offering them a chance to fix that cabin up. It's really nice. It's got 3 massive rooms. One has an old style brick floor, the other one is concrete slab, and the third one is plywood that's kind of busted up a bit. Probably by rats or raccoons or, hell, porcupines chewing on it. They like plywood for some reason. But otherwise, it's got all the great bones that you would expect from an old cabin. Big stone fireplace, huge timbers that make it up, and it seems a shame to just let it rot into the ground. It's also got 2 outbuildings, which I'm not sure whether it was hikers or the locals. They seem to be having quite a bit of sport with them. One even had a fire lit inside of it, which had thankfully been extinguished long before we got there. So, you know, those could be improved, and it really wouldn't take a lot. But otherwise, I'm hiking here down the mountain now that I climbed up yesterday. We're dropping about 4,000 feet in elevation over the next 10 miles or so as we hike down to Big Bear Lake. And as we get lower, more and more of the snow is melted, and it gets warmer and warmer. Just goes to show you that, you know, 600 or 700 feet in elevation is like going 1,000 miles south, or 1,000 miles north rather. It just gets drastically colder the higher you are up here, and the humidity drops off a lot. So if you're down in the valley and you hike up here, you're losing 20, maybe 30 degrees of ambient temperature. So if it was 50 yesterday morning, and I think it was about there, it was 20 the night before. Or 20 the night after. 20 last night, I should say. I'm a little bit discombobulated. I don't think the caffeine has made its way to my brain yet. I'm operating on a pretty minimal amount of water until we get to the next water source, which is about 6 miles from here. It was about 9 miles from the cabin. And once I get there, I'm thinking it's time for a second cup of tea and really warm up properly. I even started hiking in my Puffy this morning, which is only the second morning that I've done that on the trail so far. Otherwise, it's been very good. We stayed at the cabin last night with 4 other thru hikers and spent some time around the fire, swapping stories. It's a good time. I'm going to let you go before I drain my battery too much. Have a good morning.